Be fun.
Well,
Welcome to the portion. We are here.
welcome.
It's a Thursday night. It's a Thursday night, Brenda. Where it's Thursday night.
I
This is
know.
we get to hang out with you guys the third Thursday night of every month. We try to do the evening, so all of our ladies who are working outside the home during the daytime and they can't make it with us on Fridays. That's
Mhm.
why we come in live. I know a lot of times we love seeing you live. If it is not too late, if you're on Facebook to join us live, please check in the comments. I put the link in there to help you find it. Brenda, we have ladies all over the world watching. Welcome to them.
I
Welcome.
know. Hello, everyone. Most of our South African ladies are in bed,
Yes.
but
all our South African ladies, they are.
they should be
Yeah.
anyway. And if you're
Yeah.
not, why? Why are you not in bed?
You should be asleep by now.
You need this on the replay.
Absolutely. So all of you in South Africa watching on the replay, not just South Africa, we have ladies all
Everywhere.
over, like
Yeah.
Israel, Australia,
Yeah.
all the ladies on that
Yes.
side of the hemisphere that are like 7-8 hours difference from us.
We love you.
Bless you all. We love you. We have
Yeah.
ladies. Oh my gosh, every day I'm looking at the map and I'm just amazed. For some reason Facebook took our map down. So I am working on another program that actually is outside of Facebook that you guys can kind of find each other and you can be like, oh, look at us. You know, we're here. But I love that we have women all over. If you're watching now and you're watching from somewhere other than the US, or hey, why not US? Just tell us where you're watching from. We love it. We love knowing where you're from. We want to chat, see that you're watching. Some of you are secretly watching us and we don't know it.
Yeah, you're sneaky.
You're sneaky. So right
We
now,
wanna
just
hear.
at least just put a little, don't hit the heart button. I don't want that. I want you to go in the comments and hit a little heart and like put like your city. And then you can hurry up and hit send and then sneak back into being sneaky again.
You
But I
don't
want to know
have to
you're
have your
there. I
camera
love it.
on.
Well, hello. Thank you again, Miriam, for pinch hitting last week. I blessed all of you. I'm feeling great today. It's a good day. Good day. Yeah, feeling good. I appreciate her just jumping in at the last minute like that last week. What a great time. I did watch it. You guys, of course, were rock stars. It was so touching. Thank you, Linda, all your input as well. You kind of, Miriam and the three of you kind of did the Three Musketeers. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah. You know, I don't know how you're watching the past live videos, but I do want to tell you guys, you can watch them here. And if you don't know how, I was going to share my screen and show you how. I decided I'm not going to do that because I did do a video on how to do that. And it's in the Rooted Cafe already. I already showed you how to do this, but I might do another one because it's kind of hard to find. It's under guides. There might be under video if you look under video, but if you go under guides, if you go into scroll to the very top to the portion instead of just looking through the feed, like go to actually the portion, and then there's little things. It'll say like about events, blah blah blah. One of them says guides. Click guides, and underneath there you'll see videos, and one of the sections is our weekly portions, and we put them in there, right? The other thing is you can sign up for the audio version of this so that you actually get our portions. You get them by podcast. You can listen to them by podcast. And if you under the notes here say, I don't know how to do that, that's super fine. Do that. And we can jump in here and there'll be someone who will help you and show you how to do that. Making sure that if you're missing out on things, you're like, I forgot what date it was. I don't know when it was. Sign up for the reminders. And so that you get the text reminder that says like, I love that today. It was like, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
I know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me to be the end of the month yet. So I wasn't expecting this. This snuck up on me.
It snuck up. So I was glad to get that reminder first thing this morning. So that was really cool. So if you need that reminder, you can also sign up for, if you go in under the portion, you can sign up in the Rooted Cafe. You can go in there and you can actually sign up to just look at the videos. We have them outside of Facebook. So you can do all of that. We have lots of ways to find it. So if you can't find it,
we'll help you find it. We'll help you find it.
And we have help. We have lots of ladies
helpers
who will jump in and guide you through, and they'll help you. And we don't want you to miss out. You know, it's also a good thing, Brenda.
What?
Some people, we really want to encourage you to like start something in your home. Maybe you have ladies come over.
Yes.
And what if you could just play this for them? You don't have to be a teacher. What if you play this and you guys just all talk about it and have your own little chat afterwards? Wouldn't that be fun?
Right.
Like even if it's just once a month, what if you did like a Friday morning, some of you ladies, or Thursday night for your night girls? You hit the Thursday night one, then on Friday morning, tomorrow we will not be here live because we're live now. Wouldn't that be fun? You invite a few friends and just watch it together and talk.
You know, Charlie, that's a really great idea. I think that especially with the Torah portion today, that this inviting, I mean, just invite someone to your house, anyone, just invite someone to your house.
Yeah.
Talk to them about the things of the kingdom to whatever degree you can, and ask questions, and be okay not knowing all the answers,
Yeah.
and say, hey, that's such a great question. I don't even know the answer to that. Let's dig into that together.
And
It's
you should be saying
okay.
that. We're saying that every day,
Yes.
huh,
Oh,
Bren? Like
geez.
we're saying it all the time. If you're thinking you know all the answers,
Please.
well, I won't even go there. But Brenda and I'll just tell you, everyone I know who I think knows all the answers will all say, no,
That's right.
know.
We don't know the answers.
So
We
yeah,
don't know
so I
all
think
the
that's a really
answers.
great idea. Yeah.
Some
Another
things
thing is
we
a good
know,
thing
but
is
not
some
a lot of
things.
things.
Yeah, not a lot of things. Another great thing of getting together, we had a great meetup. That was fun. But conferences, like if you have a little conference in your area,
Yeah.
Women of Merit Ministries still has their conference. They still have availability there. It's in Oklahoma City, November 12th through the 14th.
Oh, please come out.
Brenda and I are both
Grab a
speakers.
ticket.
Come, you guys.
Please.
They extended the bargain price. They
Oh my
extended it.
gosh.
So it's like $129. It includes your meals, please.
All of your meals,
and
guys.
Yeah, go on there. Go check it out. You should go. It's Oklahoma City. Go be with us. Misty's going to be there. Simi's going to be there. A bunch of you are going to be there. If you're going to be in there in the comments right now, go, I'm going. And if you go to womenofmeritministries.com, you'll see all the info about it. We are not hosting it. Brenda and I are not hosting it. The Ruta Cafe is not hosting it. We're just speakers and we're promoting it for them because we love them and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, for those of you who might think, oh my gosh, it's a lot of teaching. It's not going to be one of those where we're tons and tons of teaching. It's going to be a lot more of healing and testimonies and prayer and worship. And just, it's going to be beautiful. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh man, I'm so excited. I really am.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I haven't been to a conference like this in a while. It's going to be nice to not necessarily have to have a notebook for every session. Sometimes when you leave a session, your brain kind of hurts.
Yeah.
This is going to be nice. We're joking around like, this is going to be nice. We're going to be praying for each other. There's going to be some nice squeezing and nice ministry happening. So I love it. Okay, whatever. Love it. Okay. Anyways, I missed you guys last week. Such an arsenal full of so many things. Can I just say, I have a couple things about Lech Lecha. Is it okay if I review that?
Please, Please, because last week I grieved. I really did because I know that Lech Lecha is your favorite, and I mean, it's your favorite of favorites. Let's just put it that way. And sis, you have so many great insights on Lech Lecha, and I didn't share them, and I told everybody Charlie is going to share these things because this is her baby.
My jam.
This is her jam. Yeah.
Lech Lecha is really a couple of years ago when the Lord spoke to us, and I won't go into that, but he really called us out. We had to sell everything, left our house. I mean, went into our tiny little Thelma D, traveled around for a few months. I mean, we left what I thought was like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. It's very interesting, Brenda. You and I we were talking just before this. It's kind of interesting. This is all kind of happening again about this time. He's doing some stirring in us right now. And we're just praying. And it's funny because we both for the last month have been saying, this is kind of like that Sholo where experience where we're like been crying out, praying God, like, what's next?
Yeah.
So yeah, so he does. So Lech Lecha, I mean, you guys went into that. The only thing I just, he's calling us out, ladies. He's calling us. We get to meet Abram. We get to get introduced to this amazing man. And I have something that I wrote down. This is so interesting to me. It's new this year.
Oh, okay.
The covenant of circumcision. So if you Google this, Wikipedia it, I mean, this is getting like I want you guys to check it out. My understanding, this is kind of interesting to me, is that, and I even heard, I think the guys on Marty Solomon, I think he was talking about this as well, that circumcision wasn't a new thing. Circumcision, the Egyptian priests were circumcised. So isn't it interesting then when he's calling all men, so he's calling out a kingdom of priests, they would have identified that the only people that are circumcised were the priests of Egypt. And now he's calling out all men to be circumcised as this covenant with them and to identify them as a kingdom of priests.
Interesting.
Something to think about. Just saying, look it up, Google, do your history. But there's a differentiation. They're like, everyone's saying, no, there weren't, you can go look it up. I'm not going to go into that, but I'm just saying, wouldn't it be super cool that if that were a case, like he's calling a kingdom of priests and they would have been like, oh, I know what this means. So it wasn't so like, what the heck are we doing cutting the foreskin off? Like, why are we doing this? They would have understood it. If that's the case, they would have understood it. That's what I'm just saying. So this year, when I was learning about that, I thought that kind of rings. I mean, that would make sense. That answers some questions I have. Next year, I may say it's different. I'm just going to throw that out there. That was one thing that I was like, wanted to throw that out for you so you guys could all spin around on that and be like,
Are you stirring the pot? Just
totally
wondering.
Totally stirring the pot. The other thing is, Brenda, when Abraham, and I'm going to say Abraham, I'm not going to
just say Abraham. It's all good.
This is just really confusing to go back. We don't have time today.
That's fine. We don't have time.
Abraham, he gave up his whole earthly inheritance. Like, you realize he left his father. We just like skim past this. We get so
we do.
We get so numbed because we've read this so many times. You guys, he left. Like, he gave up they didn't do Lot left his inheritance. He didn't have his own inheritance. Like, he left his father. He left everything.
The land.
He left the land. His grandpa should have been taking care of him, not Abraham. It wasn't Abraham's job. It was his dad's job. And they both left. So the family biz, they left, which would have been a big deal back then. That was a huge, huge thing. Imagine your family has your Procter and Gamble or your some like huge conglomerate. You're like the Rockefellers. I don't know. That's no, I thought of that. You're the Rockefellers. And you're all of a sudden you're just like, meh, I don't want to be a Rockefeller anymore. And you just leave and you just like give it all up.
I'm going to go live in the desert.
Right? That's how big that is. And I think if you keep that in the back of your mind about how big it was,
it's huge.
It
was huge.
And it was just really huge. And then I'll skip over that, my little things about that. Also, can we just say we're going to see this family makes pretty babies. I mean, we see it in Sarah. We see it in Rachel later. I mean, they make some pretty babies. It's like pretty women. They got some good genes. The other thing that they make really well is they make this heart of hospitality. And that's what we're going to see today. We will see that heart of hospitality. But I mean, it's just beautiful. We see Abraham giving up in last portion. We see him giving up. He gives up Lot twice.
That's just incredible.
He gives him up twice because he was like, think about it. He takes Lot with him, probably thinking, well, I'm taking him on. So now he's probably going to be like, since he's my dad, we're leaving my dad. I'm going to take him on. So he's going to be the one that inherits everything. And then he has to give him up.
Yeah.
And then when the king of Sodom comes back, he says, I want my people back. And he gives him Lot back again. How do we know this? Because we're going to see, guess what? Today, we're going to talk about again. We're going to see Lot. Guess where he's at? Oh, wait, he's in Sodom, which means he gave him the people back. He goes back twice. He gives up that whole thing. And I love that I heard you guys talking about this. And I love that when he was looking, we see Abraham say, whatever you want, take what you want. And it doesn't say anything about where he's looking. We see Lot looking.
Right.
Wherever his eyes, wherever his flesh was leading him, he was so driven by what he could see.
Yep.
And then we see the emunah heart of Abraham, where he doesn't look up until he looks up and says, where do you want me to go, God?
Oh, Father, may you just cause us right this moment, Father, every single one of us, would you just speak that to us? May we just be filled with emunah, Father, that we can say, we don't even have to look for what looks good or seems good. But Father, we embrace whatever is the best that you have for us. Thank you, Father, in the midst of all of this, we embrace what you have for us, Father. Fill us with your emunah. Fill us with your life force. Fill us with your spark, that we may walk this out well in these days to come. Thank you, Abba. Oh, Charlie, that is so prophetic. I'm telling you, that just blew right into me. I hope that you all got that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Walking out of my life right now. Like it's really, there's a lot happening right now. And you're just
there's
like,
a lot
Father,
going on.
I don't want to look around and see what's best. Ooh,
Right.
what's going to feed my flesh? What's going to make me happy? But Father, what do you want? Because that's all that matters, right? Where do you want me? Because wherever you're going to put me, I'll be blessed because you'll be there. I don't want to go. We hear David saying this. If you're not there, I don't want to go there.
Right.
Unless you build this house, I'm going to labor in vain. Right.
That's right.
So then we wrapped that all up with cutting the covenant. I know you guys ran short. It was hard because that would preach for like 5 weeks or all year,
Right.
but cutting that
Right.
covenant, but it was huge. And I know you mentioned that Abraham, he would have known what to go get. Why?
Yeah.
This is an ancient Near East marriage covenant. When he told him, I want you to get these things, Abraham would have known this is what a father would have told a prospective son-in-law to go get to cut a marriage covenant for the bride. And he would have, imagine your dad telling your husband or your betrothed and said, okay, we're going to cut this covenant. I need you to go get these things. Well, back then he would have known. So he went and got it because he knew, okay, we're going to be doing this. I know what this means. I know what these are. I know what to do.
He knew what to do with them.
Yeah. He knew what to do with them. He knew how to set it all up. And then what would happen then is the prospective son-in-law, whatever, would walk through. They called it like not a valley of blood.
The blood covenant.
No, they called it a gutter. The blood path or a blood gutter. They call it something. There's a name for it. And they would walk through it. He would walk first, splattering the blood all over himself. And again, saying, may this happen. May this happen to me if I break this covenant I'm making with this family. And then the father-in-law would walk through again, would walk behind him. And I love that. When I reread this year, Brenda, I saw that God came in. This isn't a new covenant that he makes. Even I'm going to just step out there and stir all kinds of stuff up today. I don't know that this whole Moshe thing wasn't a new covenant. Was it? Because right here is a marriage covenant he was making. And he was saying, and he just renewed the covenant. And then when he comes back with Yeshua, he renews the covenant. We keep seeing this getting renewed and renewed. I don't know.
It's beautiful.
But what I saw was how beautiful that he was saying is that he's going to take us as his bride. He's going to he's going to take on everything as his bride and protect us no matter what. And if we break it, because he knows we will, he won't even, Brandon, you even said, he sat around going, do, where are you, God? And then he falls asleep. He shoos the birds away, I pray. Then he falls asleep. And then he shows up after he's asleep and he goes through and he does it himself. And we see the lamps, let's look at what do we see in the desert? We see a pillar of fire, a pillar of smoke. I don't know.
Right. Fire and smoke. We saw him before. Fire and smoke. We saw him in the burning bush.
Exactly. We see them being led by that. We see this covenant. And I believe then, I don't know. I mean, next year, maybe I'll have more time in that, but all I know is I was blown away this year seeing that thing. Father, you walk through all of that. It was beautiful. It was the gospel.
Truly. And Charlie, don't you feel like this year reading, I know that you feel this way, not that we've talked about it, but I just know you. So I know that you do feel this way, but it's almost like the word has become this year so supernatural that it kind of feels like we're being pulled out of moments of time and placed into moments of time in the scriptures. Like, well, this happened before. No, it was Moses. It was later, but it happened. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're seeing all of these things that are happening because the word of God is alive and living and he is outside of time. So all of these things are happening. And you mentioned to me something that was really interesting about this Torah portion a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it. And you were saying that there was something about, I can't remember exactly what it was with Ishmael. It was like, it was out of sync. It was like out of the sync of the, like the timeline, because they were speaking about Ishmael as if he was a little boy and he wasn't a man, and he was a man. Well, he was almost a man. He was over 13. So, he was a big boy. He wasn't a tiny baby, but in the scripture, it was talking about with him and Hagar, it was talking about him like he was a little baby. And you were saying something about that, like being out of time. And that is so true. It's like sometimes we're reading these scriptures and we get it in the book of Leviticus too. And we'll be reading a chapter and all of a sudden it's like that chapter is not that it's wrong, guys. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
no. But it's not all chronological sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
we have to see us
things.
Ask the questions.
Ask. It's so good. Like, why does it say?
I'm so excited that you said all this because, right? Like so I'm just seeing this stuff and I'm like, Brenda, what this year is different for
this
me.
Year's different. Yeah.
I'm asking
Me too.
questions.
Mhm.
I'm refusing to read this and be numbed by just reading the same thing
Lulled.
over and over. Yeah, like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
this. And I'm just gonna, I hope that we're blowing a flame on you. And
Yes.
if you're not
Amen.
feeling that way, start asking the questions, because that's what I'm like, Father, what is, I'm reading it looking for what doesn't fit? What seems
Uh-huh.
weird in this? Like,
Uh-huh.
what's different here?
Yeah. Or what's mentioned
Excuse
twice,
me.
or what's mentioned 3 times, or didn't I just
Right,
read this a chapter ago? And
right.
yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah, and
did.
it doesn't mean I'm trying to like solve all these weird mysteries.
No.
I'm just saying,
No.
Father, I want to see this different. Like, oh, I wonder why that happened. And then maybe
Mhm.
checking it out, but at least asking and not just thinking,
Yeah.
well, I've heard this story 100 times, so I'm going to
Yeah.
just move on and try to find something. Another thing was, and I'm going to go into Vayera, because think about, he's the God who sees. And that's why I wanted to start
Oh,
with that video.
so
And for those of you, I
beautiful.
didn't record it, so if you're listening, go back and watch. Kathy Lee Gifford did that production on the God who's, he is the God
Yeah.
who sees, or God, the God who sees. And you can, it's on YouTube, just type in the God who sees and you can watch it again. It's probably live on Facebook here. You could, if you started watching here, I shared my screen so that you guys could watch it there. But it just is a reminder that he sees you. I don't know where you are, but he sees you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go into that. But we remember Abraham now is coming out of this, and we'll talk when we get to Hagar. He brought Egypt with him. Not
Mhm.
only did he go in and he was trying to look for provision and whatever, that we can re-hit that again next year, and I won't go into that, but he had a plan. He thought he was going to get some money if he could just pretend like his sister, she was his sister, and then he'd get these suitors and he could get some money. And he didn't realize that the Pharaoh was going to be the suzerain or whatever. He's going to be the stronger power. Oops. And we see that happen. But what happens is, remember, he gives all from Egypt, he gives them all kinds of stuff, including slaves. And that's where Hagar is going to come out of. So he brings Egypt with him. You guys, when we get out of balance, when we aren't aligned with where he goes, we bring those things with us. And then those little foxes start spoiling vines. We wonder, like, why? Maybe this week we should sit in and say, Father, where have I brought Egypt with me? And as we see the Holy One giving Abraham his going through this covenant with him, he's going to tell him, hey, but you know what? You're going to spend 400 years in Egypt.
Right.
I saw that different this year. I'm like, was that him saying, not that it was a punishment, but it was a limitation? Like, hey, you're going to have to go back. This is what's going to happen because you brought Egypt with you. And it's going to cause, there's going to be some stuff. And I'm going to have to birth Egypt out of you to give you an identity again. Wow. That's going to come back. It's come back to haunt me. Brenda, I've brought Egypt with me, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, Lordy. I have a silent passenger. It's not so silent all the time.
The silent passenger that you don't even know has their little gods packed in the backpacks.
Exactly.
They have
Underneath the
faith.
saddlebags.
You think you're doing everything all great, and you don't understand they're conjuring over in the other tents. And I mean, you have some things that you've brought along with you, and you don't even.
Yeah,
So
you
I
do.
really believe we can ask, Father, would you reveal those things to me?
Yes.
And we can push
Amen.
those things out in the wilderness, and we can let them have their own nations somewhere else. We can cut that bloodline.
Yes.
We can cut that distinction. We can cut that, because we think about Hagar in that way, that Egypt had to be sent away. The things of Egypt had to be sent away so the promises of God could come.
And why? Because we are not supposed, we learned this in Leviticus, because we're not supposed to mix things together that are not supposed to be mixed. And that was the whole thing. It wasn't that Ishmael was unloved. He was loved, and God had a plan for his life and a plan for his future and a plan for the nations, the 12 nations that came from him. God had a plan for Hagar. He met her in the middle of the desert. He didn't leave her. He didn't abandon her. He had a plan for her. But the thing was that there was not to be a mixture. There was to be a specific way of raising Isaac that was not going to allow a mixture of other cultures. And so that's why he was raised in Sarah's tent. And that's why Hagar was required to go. And so, and Ishmael. Yeah. And he was, and we
have to believe Romans 8:28, later, right?
You know? Yeah.
We go back to Romans 8:28. Like, it all worked for their good.
It all worked for their good.
It all did. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was
I like how
a
you said,
plan.
I like how you said if there's repeating. I mean, there's a lot of threes happening
So
here. We're gonna
much.
see, we see him sitting at the entrance of his tent. Let's just be honest.
Just hanging. Oh, wait.
Wait.
That's not good.
Sorry.
Sorry.
He's at the tent. I heard today that, day 3, when you are sick, it was tradition that you visit the sick on the 3rd day. So it is tradition that this was the 3rd day after his circumcision. So that's why there were visitors that came in the 3rd day. But he's sitting in his tent. Let's remember he's just been circumcised and he's an older man. So it's not like he's a little kid. Even then it would be painful, but and we see, he says he lifted up his eyes to see. When he lifted up his eyes to see. You guys, I know for myself, I think one of the plans of the resistance for us is that we have the resistance of, I'm not even busy, it's distraction. There's so many things. How many times have I missed a visitation because I didn't lift my eyes up to see?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of 3s in here too.
There
3 men.
is. Mm-hmm.
Probably 3 days after 3 measures of bread. It's a lot.
Yeah. That was a lot of,
and he
was
runs,
a lot of
bread
bread baking.
There's a lot of bread baking. Thank goodness she had servants, because she wasn't doing that all by herself. She did have some servant girls helping her. There's a lot of Egyptian girls in there making bread. We'll just say.
That's right. Do you want to tell them how much 3 measures is?
3 measures is, I forgot. I had it written. I have it written in
3 measures makes 80 loaves of bread.
80 loaves.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, hey, let me go put a loaf of bread together.
Make some challah.
80 loaves of bread, at least 80 loaves of bread. That's a lot. That's a lot of baking. I don't care how big your oven is. That's a lot of heat.
That's a lot of Egyptian girls. And there's like probably 100 Egyptian women in there. They're probably all baking some bread.
Sure. And guess what? Sarah was supervising because she was the mother of hospitality.
Right.
She was making sure it was done perfectly.
Yes.
Did I ruin the surprise?
No, I love that. I'm just because Brenda, you know what I'm in this whole thing about this Middle East, we don't get the hospitality the way that they do in the Middle East. And I know you have a really great story, personal. I have the one that I heard on from Marty Solomon when his trip to Israel. He shared us a story, and his story I loved because he said, and yours is great too, because yours is also from a Pakistan family, but they are desert Bedouin village. They see the Bedouin little get up right there. They see it. And there's about a little over 50 of them walking through the desert. They see it. And all of a sudden these 4 and 5-year-old kids come running to greet them and pull them in to come stay with them. And they're like, oh, a Muslim, because, all of our own predispositions, what we've been indoctrinated to believe or whatever, our fears that have been instilled in us. And that's what they're responding from. They come to this place and they literally pulled out all the food they had and they fed that. And it was really interesting because 54
people, Charlie,
start baking bread. They started baking bread for them and making tea and bread for them to eat. And the guy told them, their guide said, they will keep feeding you until they run out of food.
Yeah,
please. And I'm thinking, oh, I sure hope those guys left them money. That was my first thought. And he says, and they told us, do not leave money. It will offend them. You will take away their blessing. So he says, they go, they sit.
That'll preach.
Right. And they said, they asked the blessing. They asked the lady, what was it? If you could, basically, if you had a wish, what do you wish you would see? And she looked around with her arms up and she says, I wish we could do this forever. I'm like,
she was a Muslim woman.
She was a Muslim woman. And she was, and he told them, if something happened and like something would break out, fire would break out, there would be something, shenanigans, that family would cover them and take bullets, then they would lose their life for them because they were their guest. That's entire village level of hospitality. Yeah, the whole village would surround them. And Brenda, I was thinking about when I was doing that time when I was given those, I went into that like gang infested apartment complex.
Oh my gosh,
gifts for angel tree.
Oh yes.
I won't tell that story, but it was the bottom line is I have these the main gang members with like teardrops coming down, and they would have surrounded, and they told me if something happened and you were here, we would have protected you, but don't ever come here by yourself. But because you're here, now we're going to protect you, kind of thing.
Right.
Same happened with that. Brenda, you have a great story for this hospitality.
When I was in Israel, we had a gentleman who was driving us around for the 10 days that we were there, and he invited us to his home for dinner. And he was friends with my sister and her husband, and so we were all together with some other people that we hooked up with in Jerusalem. Just like they were walking down the street, and they said, "You guys speak English," and that was it. They were with us for the rest of the trip. We just ended up adopting them. But anyway, and so she was giving my sister a gift, and she gave my sister this beautiful gift of china, of coffee serving china set. I mean, with the gold trim, I mean, just so beautiful. And I was just standing there, and I said to my sister and to her, "That is so beautiful." And she looked up at me, and this look came on her face, and she ran down the hallway. And I thought, oh no, I should have kept my mouth shut. I didn't realize, because basically I think what I made her feel like was she gave something to my sister, but she didn't give something to me. So she ran down, and look at this. Look, I've never met this woman before, right? So this is the box that she gave me. This was her. It's a family. You guys, come on now. It's been in her family for a long, long time. She gives me this box. Look at the china inside of it. This is a stranger, a woman who's never met me. Gold edges. This is the most beautiful, made in Hebron. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. This is what she gave me.
That's like Garden of Eden, China.
Yeah. The cave of Machpelah.
I feel like I can keep that open. I feel like I feel the wind of the cave.
Can you see this? Is this not so gorgeous?
Oh,
Look at this.
Why haven't we ever had tea with that?
I don't know. We have to change that. I know, because it's just so
yeah, but with china, you have to use it. You have to use it to keep the oils that keep it from breaking. Otherwise, it gets brittle. You have to touch it, and your oil from your hands and stuff have to be on china. I had a friend.
Then I need to start. I have to start using this. But
anyway, have a little cups. Yes. What it be? Brenda,
that was what she gave me, and I bet you didn't even know me.
No, and it
probably
would
cost
you
more
do
than my
that
year's
for a
salary.
Muslim woman? For a Muslim woman in your house,
Yeah.
would you go get your mom's china and give that to her?
Right.
No.
Would you, like you said, Charlie, would you send your 4-year-olds running a half a mile away to go greet strangers walking in the desert? 54 strangers walking in the desert. Jewish men, obviously,
or Christian, either one.
Christian,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, both.
And the children ran out and greeted them and said, come, and made them come into the town. And then the whole town emptied their cupboards to do this. And Charlie, there's something in this that we as Westerners we have just not given. And what hit me so hard today with this, and this has been like, honestly, the hospitality thing, the entire week, I've just been stuck on that the whole week. I mean, I know that we have a lot more things to go through, but with the hospitality thing, Gail Heaton does the Parsha points over in the Rooted Cafe, and she did a Parsha point last year for this Parsha, and she was talking about the beautiful that Sarah is, how Sarah was such a wonderful woman of hospitality, and that hospitality is actually building a space. Now, she didn't say these words, but this is what I'm telling you. Hospitality is building a holy space.
100%. I'm so
opening up a holy space. Why? A holy space is a place where the Holy One is being invited to dwell. Hospitality is us opening up our hearts and receiving and pulling toward us, bringing into our sphere. Hospitality, this is what it's doing. It's bringing into our sphere a place for someone to reside, even if it's momentarily. When you open your heart and you open your home, that's what you are doing. Because in the ancient Near East, and this is where we have to get our minds, we have to start thinking this way a little bit better, because we don't think this way, but think of it this way. In a home, when you ate with somebody, you were telling them, it was a covenant of salt, and you were telling them, no matter what, if you ate with them, that you would protect them with your life. And that's why Marty Solomon said, he said that they would protect him with their lives, that all of the people that were in the community that were right, because the bread was broken. And that's not just a biblical, it is biblical, but it's not just biblical. It is Middle Eastern.
That's why Yeshua
That's what
broke
was
bread
going
with
on.
them before he died.
Exactly.
He was saying, I will give my life for you.
That's it. I'm
Brenda,
giving my life. That's it.
We're seeing hospitality. Let's just go on a limb on, because I think this is the theme of this whole Parsha, and I really do. I believe it is, because I believe he's showing us, and we're going to see it happen again with Rachel.
Yes.
He's showing us that one of the reasons that Abraham's family was chosen to be an example is because they show the heart of God's hospitality.
Yes.
They show the God that he's willing to run. We see it in the parable of the prodigal son, and the father runs back.
Yes.
We see that happening. He runs back to prepare. I just wrote down Corbinats. We're going to see this in Leviticus.
Yes.
I know this is crazy, guys, but he's saying, I'm going to make a way so you can eat with me and be in my presence.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a way to make this okay when you're uncomfortable, when you feel ashamed. I mean, I think this is exciting.
I do too.
Yeah, it's oozing. We're going to see all kinds of extreme hospitality. It's all about extreme hospitality, because this is the heart of who God is. And this is who, when we have extreme hospitality, we're so like him. And that's what makes us different. When we're not out trying to sue everybody, and we're not out trying to make everything. What if we are the ones giving our china away? What if we're the ones saying, we're going to see it when they fill the wells up. Okay, no problem. I'll just undig another one. Oh, you want that? Okay, you can have that well. Let me do another one.
Yeah.
That's the kind of hospitality.
Yeah.
I know it seems silly, but it really is the same heart. It's that same heart of saying, okay, I trust him as my provider so much. You can have everything.
Yeah.
And we see Abraham doing it. He gave away his inheritance. He gave everything away because he knew his God. And look at how much he had. God just kept, pressed down, shaken together, overflowing.
Yeah.
He had some money. Yeah.
That was, I love that you said that about Rachel, because what did she do? What was the thing that she did? She ran and got those huge things that cisterns for water, and watered all of his camels.
Yeah. I mean, this is going into next week, but I'm going to tell you, if you haven't seen the cistern, actually the cisterns, they would walk down into them. You had to walk down in. It wasn't like, oh, we did a little well. You walk down in, get water, walk back up, and it probably took 100 of those. So she was willing to do that like 100 times to feed. Yeah. I mean, walking all the way down into there, getting well, walking all the way back up the stairs. I mean, I can just walk down my little stairs. I'm like, okay, I'm tired. So anyways, we'll go back to that later for next week. But I mean, keep that in mind, hospitality, and where are we going to see this?
And what is the Holy One? What is the Holy One asking of us? Because whenever he teaches us these things, it's because they're supposed to be part of our life. So how is he asking us this week? How is he asking us to begin embracing hospitality? So my question to you is going to be this: who can you invite to your home, or who can you invite to your porch? If you're not having people into your home at this time, who can you invite to your porch where you can sit 6 feet apart? No biggie, right? You can be outside. Who can you invite? Who can you invite? And also, whose home can you go to? Whose home can you go to where your presence walks in with the divine spark of the Holy One, the creator of the heavens and the earth? Whose home can you go into, and whose home can you bring shalom to? How can you affect another person, their porch or their backyard, or their picnic table, or whatever? How can you do that? I really believe that that's what he's asking us of this, is to allow it to not just be theory, but to really embrace it. Like, how are we going to do this? And I love that in the portions coming up, he's going to reiterate it over and over and over. He's going to hit it again. He's going to hit it again. He's going to hit it again. So this is really, really valuable, Charlie. I truly do believe, I think that, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said it. Somebody that's smarter than me said that hospitality is kind of like the plant food. When you're growing plants, hospitality is like that plant food that helps your plants grow. It's like the miracle grow for the kingdom to be built. So when we are hospitable, ladies, when we're doing that, and not just with our homes, but with our lives, when we're hospitable, creating these holy spaces, when we do that, we are actually building the kingdom. This is what's going to bring Messiah. This is what's going to
Yes.
bring Messiah.
Amen.
We have to embrace that. So, all right.
Amen.
Go. Sorry.
Well, no, I just feel like, and I'm hearing, I hear it a lot. Well, I can't because I'm sick and I do this. What if we stopped? What can you do?
What
How
can
about
you do?
Stop thinking about the stuff you can't. My mom would say, can't, never, could, do nothing. What if you stop thinking about what you can't do and start saying, Father, what can I do? I can write a card to someone. I'm sitting and I can't move. So you know what I can do? I could sit and write cards to people and encourage them. Yes. And you know what? Not just the lovely people, because remember, we even see this. We're told in our, you look in the Brit Hadashah, it's saying, even, anyone can love the lovely, but are you sending some things to the not so lovely?
Right.
And encouraging and doing some hospital. Anyways, another thing, Brenda, when we get, we're at the tent, we have our visitors, they're baking bread, we're smelling bread, all this is happening. And then they ask, it says this is before the capital L, because the capital L, the Lord is with them somehow.
All uppercase.
Adonai manifests himself as one of the people. I don't even want to go there. Y'all can work chat, midrash that one out. He says, where's your wife? And I looked that up. That same where is the same thing that Adonai asked in Genesis 3:9. Where are you? And I thought, Father, was she hiding because of shame? Because she didn't feel I know that in the Middle East, I know that it was like the women wouldn't be out there with all the men, but he wasn't asking like, where is she? Like he didn't know. It was like, she's not where she's supposed to be. Where is she? And then he speaks her destiny.
Yes, he did.
So when he was saying, where is she? He was saying, Sarah's not where she's supposed to be. She's not the mother of all the nations. She's not walking in who she's supposed to be. He wasn't, he knew where she was.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things, you guys, when I said, well, God, why did you ask where she was? You know where she was. You're God. Like, why did you have to ask, where are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to look that up. So I looked up the word, and guess what? First mention, Genesis 3:9. I looked it up. My little blue letter Bible. I just typed this verse, I put it. It is in Genesis 18:9. He says, "Where is Sarah, your wife?"
Right.
And I'm like, well, you guys should have known that, because you came from heaven and everything. You should.
And destiny's going to change right after that question, right?
Right after that question, he speaks her destiny.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't walking in who she was supposed to be. He's like, where are you?
Yeah.
It's the same thing when he asks him, where are you? Where are you? And then he comes back, there in the tent. And then he says, oh, well, I'm going to return. And this is who she is. She's in the tent because that's her role. No, that's
right. Whoops, Charlie's frozen. Okay, so here we go. Okay.
And this too shall pass. Anyways, long story short is that he's saying, where is she? Oh, she's in the tent. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm asking you. And now let me explain. She's the mother of all the nations. And when I come back, this is what her destiny is going to be.
That's so huge, Charlie. That is so huge. And what preceded it? This is where I saw the hook here. What preceded it was her hospitality. So in the ancient Near East, there's measure for measure. That's how things are given. So there was a measure of hospitality, and the measure of recompense to that, of repayment to that, of that hospitality, was for her to have her destiny. Because something was stopping her from walking in her destiny, Charlie. And we've seen this happen before, or we see it happen later with Elisha. But anyway, it was preceded.
We see it with the woman at the well.
Right.
We see it at the woman at the well.
Yes.
He says, who are you? And she's like, oh, well, he's like, and then he tells her who she is. Same thing. Like who, and then she goes and her destiny's changed.
That's right. And that's the thing, is like, wow, that's how important hospitality is. That's how important it is. I just think that it needs to be intertwined. I hope everybody's getting 100%. This.
Hope you're getting it. Hope you're getting it. Yeah.
It's blowing on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you, Charlie, for bringing that up. I really appreciate it.
Well, and
I
at her
really
age, it
do.
wasn't even just about the baby, because we do
Mm,
realize that
mm-mm.
your
Yeah,
identity at that time,
yeah,
having a baby, is huge. But I
yeah.
just want to say, if you're listening to this later, if you're listening to this now,
Mhm.
I don't, and you feel like life has passed you by, you're too old, too many things have happened, I've been hurt, whatever, put the list, you're hiding in the tent. I want you to hear the Holy One saying, where are you? Because I believe he's calling your destiny out.
Mm.
That's very good. Yeah. I do believe he's calling your destiny out. And some of you are
Amen.
laughing, and some of you are saying, you've heard it. This isn't
Yeah,
new. I'm going to prophesy over you, but it shouldn't be anything you've ever not heard. You've never
yeah,
not heard before. This shouldn't be new. You've heard it and you've laughed. Huh.
yeah.
Just like her. She didn't just laugh that she was going to have a baby. She went, you mean I'm going to desire my husband? I'm 90. Have you seen him? I'm 90.
Have you
You
seen
think I'm
him?
going to, like,
Those
think about it.
those
Now, some
parts
of our
aren't
older,
those parts
some
aren't
of our
even
more
working.
mature women, you get it when you're like, I'm going to want that. What? Like, I'm going to have a desire for my husband. What? That's what she says. And is
Yeah.
anything too difficult for Adonai?
Mm-mm. No.
Have you guys thought you've gone too far? You have too much Egypt. You brought too much Egypt back with you.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
too old. You've gotten hurt. You've
Right.
done that before. I've been around this before.
Yeah. That
I've
ship
been there.
sailed.
I've been there. Too much
Yeah.
is going on. I still go there. And he's saying, is anything too hard for me?
Nothing.
Even to put the desire back in your heart for the thing that you thought was gone, that he will bring
Amen.
that desire back.
Yes.
He will stir up the desire so you actually want to
Yes.
give birth to that thing again, whatever that was. This is not a baby necessarily, but that thing you thought you were supposed to have, he's going to start stirring the desire up in you again. And I believe it. I believe he's doing it. You're going to laugh and be like, what? I'm going to actually want to do it again. You're joking. I mean, how many of you have I spoken to that were like, yeah, I've been hurt. I was in ministry for years. I never want to do that again. If I said, oh, I mean, Misty, you're on here right now. I'm going to call you out. I'm never going to be in ministry again. She's like, ha, ha, ha. And we laugh about it now. We're walking nevers. I'm telling Missy that I was telling Missy about myself. I'm never going to do that. I'm laughing, knowing something stirring up inside of me. He's blowing. And that's what we do as older women. We should be fanning flames on us, stirring the gifts, stirring the desires up again. Not just younger. What about the younger in the faith? What about those that have been hurt and maybe you're sitting back and you've been waiting and then it just didn't happen? So you're just laughing. There's something here, guys. We're laughing about the things that we feel like other people are telling us are going to happen, but you're going to start desiring things again. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised. Exactly. Yeah. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I'm receiving that for me. I am. I'm receiving that for me. Amen.
I'll share. That was my download for me. So I'm giving it to y'all.
Thank you. We receive it.
His
arm was really good. Short.
Is he too? He is just, because
what I wrote down for him,
where this started was because I said, why would she laugh? Because like, if she knew that it was God and then she laughed and then they're saying, why does she laugh? But they know why she laughed, but they don't know where she is. But why did they? That was the thing. I've heard the story so many times. I didn't really sit in it. Like, let me sit outside the tent for a minute and just watch and go see what's going on. Now, what doesn't fit? One of these things is not like the other. Like, what is like weird about this conversation? And that's where he took me down this path. That's what you guys get to do. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? I think it's fun. Yeah. And then we jump into Lot interceding. See, Lot is an intercessor, right? We have Lot is the intercessor. We have, Abraham is the intercessor, and we have Lot. He assimilates, right? So because he assimilates, he can't make an impact.
Right.
He doesn't impact his town because he's assimilated.
Yeah. And we know that because he was sitting at the gate.
He's important.
Yeah. He was a political figure or city official or whatever. Right. He was a big guy. BMOC,
big man on campus. He was the big guy. And so it wasn't like a bit like, oh, he was lazy and he was like sitting outside, will work for food. He wasn't that guy. It was a big deal.
I never thought about that. Will work for food.
I mean, I never thought about before, like, what the heck is why? No, but that wasn't what was happening. He was outside. He was judging. That's where the judges sat to judge issues and happening, what was going on. He went back even after Abraham rescued him. He went back, even though the king of Sodom says, I want my people back. Tell me that he couldn't have said, I need to go probably, this isn't working for me. No, he stays. We see later too, he's told to go to the hills. He's like, man, I don't really want to go to the hills, but can I go to this other little town? Because I'm not really a wilderness kind of guy. Can I just go to a little town? And he's like, okay, you can go to the town. And then he gets to the town and they're like, this isn't working either. And then they have to go hide in the cave. Like, it's like, oh Lord. I mean, isn't that what happens though? When we go by our flesh, it's never happy.
Right. Yeah. Everything that we see, just when we're trying to feed our need by our soul appetites, by what we see, we're right back in the garden. This looks good. This will make me wise. It's it's the age old question.
Yeah. Did he really say I have to live in the wilderness? Because I really like to live closer to where things are happening. I like to go to Costco. Went there today,
I need the amenities.
I like to have my amenities.
Like my amenities.
And then we see Abraham interceding for the city. He's fully an intercessor.
Yes.
We see him asking,
oh my gosh,
why are they doing this? This isn't, and then he's telling God, why are you doing this? This isn't who you are. We see him walking out like a priestly role, almost like a foreshadowing of what a priest would do. He's trying to intercede, and he's again being an example to us. I believe that we're seeing community activity and community personalities being birthed. This is what it looks like to walk in community. And we're going to continue to see this throughout the rest of Torah, right, Brent?
That's right. Yeah, he's very messianic in this, Abraham.
Yeah,
he's very messianic. So. You know what got me? This is, if I can find it real quick.
Do you hear forgive them for they know not what they do? Do you hear him? Do you see him crying over Jerusalem? The tear falling as he looks over Jerusalem. I mean, this is the heart of the Messiah that Abraham has.
Yeah. Abraham was standing when the other two men, messengers, walked off, right? Abraham stands before Adonai. He's standing in the gap, between Adonai and what is a deserved judgment. And we didn't see that with Moses? Don't kill him, Father. Don't kill him. Whatever you do, I know that they deserve it. We deserve it, but don't kill him, because then people are going to say you couldn't handle your people.
He's saying this is not who you are, God. This is not who you are. Exactly. Yeah.
And so here we are again. He is interceding. He's standing in the gap, but he's doing it in a way, Charlie, that's getting me, is that he's walking it out in such a way that he's showing us this is how you're supposed to be with people. You're not supposed to be mad and judgy to everybody that's doing things differently than you're doing them, or making choices differently than your choices, or having a different ethic than what your ethic is about whatever it is that you believe in.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stand in the middle of them and say, Father, what if could you forgive them? Could you, could I bless them some way? Is there something that I can do? It's just changing the way that we view things, Charlie. We have to start seeing from a different perspective. And I love it.
We don't. We go like Weezer from Still Magnolias. Kill them, take them out, burn them. We're not like Abraham most of the time. Oh God, please don't kill him. Please don't take him out. You need to set Las Vegas on fire. You need to set Hollywood on
Lord
fire.
God, help us.
A lot of us have prayed for fire and brimstone to fall on those towns, and there's beautiful people who live there that are praying for their salvation,
crying out
and
to
saying,
God.
Father, no, please, no.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw
salvation.
another cool place here in 1916. It says, get up, leave, go there, take your wife, take your daughters. Cause the son-in-laws, betrothed son-in-laws,
Yeah.
they just were like, nope, not doing it. You're crazy. And then in 16, he says, but he hesitated. So the men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and his two daughters' hands because of Adonai's compassion for him. And they brought him out and left him outside the city. I've never read that before. I promise I don't remember ever reading that before. But he reminded me of times in my life, Brenda, when I've hesitated, and he has jerked me. He has snatched me ball-headed. He has snatched me
Right.
out and said,
Right.
he's grabbed me. He's grabbed my family. He has grabbed us by the hands and said, come on, we're going. He didn't, because we hesitated when he said, do something. He loves you sometimes so much, and you're mad and you're kicking it. Like, why is this happening so fast? Why is all this happening?
Right.
What if he's pulling you out? And then you look back and go, oh my goodness, that was destruction. And he got me out of there.
Because of his great compassion and love, his racham, his great compassion, never ending, unstoppable love and compassion.
Yeah. And we hear all of this, it comes back to down all the way down. I think it's in 29. Yeah. It says, and then God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out in the midst of the upheaval. He still, because of Abraham, he remembered, not that he forgot Abraham, but it was Zakar,
had it in the front of his mind and was acting upon it. So it was an action.
Yeah. We see then Lot doing his whole like, man, I don't like it here. Man, I don't like it. And then he ends up in a cave. And because of him, living by his sight, right?
Right.
We hear what is faith. We hear what is faith.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say the walk by faith or emunah, not faithfulness,
right,
and not by sight. Lot is walking by sight, and because of that, he births the nation of the Moabites and the Ammonites.
Well, there you go.
So when we proceed,
yeah,
I want you to remember as things come up, especially if you're new, maybe you've read this 100 times and you just don't remember, or you've gotten numb like me. When you hear the Moabites and when you hear the Ammonites, when you see stuff with their name on it, as we enter into when we're in Exodus and we start talking about this, as we start moving along, we start come upon the Moabites and we come upon the Ammonites. I want you to remember to whom they belong and from whence they come.
That's right.
How they got here. I want you to remember that, because it is passed down. There is a limitation. There is a family heritage that will pass down.
Right. And there's also Kim Allen makes a really good point. She said Ruth comes from the Moabites too, and that is so beautiful because it's the redemption. It's the counterculture of the culture. She was that spark that came out. That's why we can't pray things like burn Las Vegas down. I mean, come on now. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. We have to know that there is, but what if there's one? But what if there's 50? But what if there's 40? But what if there's 30? But wait a minute, there wasn't. But he still saved Lot and his family. He still did. It was the redemption of God is beyond.
So this just blew my brain out. I'm going to pause. Everyone go get something to drink, because this is like a thing this is the way we talk when no one's listening.
Oh.
What if, this is a what if question, Brenda.
You're scaring me now.
What would have happened if Lot, his daughters if they all had done what they were supposed to do? Were they supposed to have been combined with Abraham's family? I don't know. I don't know. But he purified the lineage. He comes back in and he redeems the lineage, meaning that the lineage had been needing redemption.
Right, because it was corrupted.
But don't you wonder sometimes what would it have been? What would have been like if it wasn't corrupted? I mean, this is I'll chase my tail on this, but then God always knows, and he always knew what they were going to do. So he always had a plan and blah, 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 blah. But beautiful. Yeah. And
one of the points that was made in something that I was reading earlier this week, was about the hospitality that Lot's like I've always had a really, I'm sorry, but I've always just not liked him very much. And I really resented, and it caused something to rise up within me when he offered his two virgin daughters to the mob crowd outside the door. And I didn't get that at all. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
that's
my
just, we just
gosh,
don't
that
understand that.
broke my heart.
Yeah. That was
And
actually him. That was actually grace. That was him. That was him
right.
saving,
Well,
right?
that was
You want to
him
explain it?
saving the, yes, because what that was the messengers were in his home and
Mhm.
he was protecting them with his life and the life of his family. None of them, if he allowed himself to be killed, then everybody would have been killed. Everybody in the room, including the
Everybody would be
messengers, would have
killed.
been killed, right? But
Yeah.
instead, he offered his family because his family took an oath to protect anyone who came into their home and ate with
Right.
them. And guess what? They had fed them. They just fed them
Yeah.
matzah. So
Yeah.
they fixed that bread and they fed him that bread. So him offering his daughters was actually a salvation, an act of salvation for these two people who they were going
Yes.
to protect no matter what. And
Right.
that's like if you're in a little Bedouin community and a firestorm breaks out of gunfire, those Bedouins, doesn't matter what religion they are, if you're in
Mhm.
their home eating with them, they will throw themselves on you and make sure that you don't get any bullets, but they will, and their kids will, to protect you. That's what was happening. And Charlie, I never ever saw that. I never saw that in a
We
million years. All
can't.
I thought that he was a slave trader. That's what I
Well, we
thought.
can't because we're Western thinkers. We don't
Yeah.
understand that if he had said he had said take me, because we think that, like, we see too many movies. We're very
Yeah.
Western thinking.
Yeah.
If they
No,
took
he
him,
couldn't.
they don't
Yeah.
have welfare. Nobody would provide for his family. They would kill and rape his family anyways.
Exactly.
So
They
he
would
had
kill
this.
his daughters. Yes.
They would kill the
And
daughters.
the
They would
wife and
kill
the
the
messengers.
wife. They
Yep.
would have killed the messengers.
Right.
At I mean, the very least,
Right.
they would have raped them, and they would have all been put outside and had to live a horrible life from there,
Right.
not with no provision. So
Right.
it was a fate worse than death
Right.
had he given himself up instead. So
Exactly.
we
It
just
would have
don't
been the wrong thing
understand
to
that.
do. It would have
Yeah.
been the wrong thing for him to do because he was their protection. See, he was the head of the home. He was the protection. He was the king of that castle. He had to be the one making the decisions. How are we going to strategize this out? How is this going to work out? How do we make this happen? Well, if the only thing is going to be that everyone else has to go, but the messengers are going to be okay, that's what his life, that's how he was
It's
allowing
the
his
greater
life to
good.
be. Yes. And that's, and what's so beautiful about that. Okay, guys. So let's just fast forward a little bit. I know that Lot and his daughters messed up big time. Okay. And they had the babies, right? The Moabites and the Ammonites came from that um, wrong choices that they made because they didn't trust God. They didn't believe that God would give them any husbands. They thought the whole world was over and there was no men left on the world and they had to repopulate. It was one of those things. But what came out of that? Yes, enemies against the nation. Yes, enemies against the people, against God. Yes, but Ruth came out of that. And who came out of Ruth? Who came out of Ruth?
Yes,
King David.
Messiah.
Who came out of King David? Messiah Yeshua. So you see the redemption of God. It is so beautiful. It's so big. It's so vast. When we're in that situation, we have to remember that there's that, like Charlie said earlier, there's nothing too big for God. Nothing. No circumstance that we're in is too big for God. Nothing. He can redeem anything, even that incestuous relationships. He can redeem that too. And I don't say that lightly. I'm just saying he can redeem that too. Oh, he is such a good God. And may his arms just wrap around and cover all of those who have been touched in this way. May his grace and raham, his intense loving compassion and comfort you and touch you. And may you know his redemptive power in your life. Amen. Amen. May that be your story. Amen.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Sabrina brings a comment about how that their intention was they wanted the men. Absolutely. But again, we go back to this covenant that we don't understand, that when you, that hospitality, we see it even in Lot, because Lot was taught that with his family. He knew they had, like Brenda had said, they had made the covenant. There's a hospitality covenant that they would have to kill them before they touch those men. And again, like we said, it was the greater good that the women would have been offered for the greater good. So it wasn't that Lot was this horrible person at all. It was just that he was actually doing the right thing in those days. He was actually being a man of honor in those days at that time.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. And I'm so grateful to those that have come before us, Charlie, and paved this path so that we can learn from them and find out these things. And then my mind can be exploded, because I didn't know that, guys. Maybe you did.
I mean, this is us just looking at this is all coming alive again and looking at it through the eyes of some questions, where you're asking questions as you read, like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Why would this happen? And then go look it up and find out why this doesn't make sense. We have to trust that there's a good reason. We have a good God. So there was a reason we just don't understand. So let's go find out what that really means. We have Ishmael coming up, and I think, I love that Sarah has a baby, and I love that she's nursing a baby in her 90s. She's nursing. I put at the top of my Bible. She brought nourishment to the promise. She brought nourishment to the promise.
That's so good. I'm sorry. I just got the visual. Sorry.
The 90s.
Just because I know what it would look like for me to nurse if I went in 20.
Well, apparently she was hot, because he gave her away to Abimelech. Remember?
Well,
and when
it's really
interesting, because even at 90, she's hot. She looks good. Well, and it's interesting at Abimelech. I think it's funny. He so protected her because, and we can go through this, Abraham is learning from his mistakes. He's getting better. But with Abimelech, even here we know, can you imagine if something had happened, then it would have been questionable who was the son? Was it Abraham's?
Exactly.
Or was it Abimelech's? Like, no.
Exactly.
So he made sure that nobody would touch. I mean, there's things, this is a whole nother thing that could preach. There's things that happen in your life that you don't understand why things have been shut up. Why no one's returning your phone call.
Right.
Because he knows
why you're not getting that
job. The wrong direction.
Yep.
Right. He will go the wrong direction. So pray that he shuts doors.
Amen.
Pray that those people don't return your phone call. And when all that's happening, instead of being trying to sit back in this from the point of view of this victim, that everything happens to me, no one loves me, when I was a kid, everyone, I think I'll eat worms, when you think, like, when you're in this hole, look up.
Yes,
because that's what this is the theme about hospitality, and look up.
That's prophetic, Charlie. What you're saying is look up. That is a prophetic proclamation. That is not looking up at your circumstances, not looking up at what's coming ahead, but looking up to the throne of God. Put your eyes upon him. Wrap yourself around him in that moment of difficulty, because that's when you're going to get strength. When you're looking up. That's the salvation, is looking up, right? That's what Moses taught us when he put that thing on the pole. Everybody had to look up. Why? Get their eyes off their circumstances. Get your eyes looking up. And then all of a sudden, you're looking up.
Yes. I had someone on here who made a comment. They said, wouldn't she have had nursemaids? Well, if you look in 21 verse 6, it says, so Sarah said, God has made me laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. So she also said, remember, every time you say, so Sarah said, so she also said, it means that it's a different conversation. This is something I just learned.
Yes.
It's not the same conversation continuing. It's and another time she also said this. So that's what's happening here. It says, she also said, who would have said to Abraham, Sarah has nursed children, for I gave birth to a son in his old age. So she personally, that's the indication we have here, that she actually nursed. We also see with Ruth, right? And her mother-in-law, we see her, she nursed the baby.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. She nursed the baby, which to me tells me, ladies, I'm not telling you to become nursemaids and start nursing some babies, but I'm just telling you this: you have sustenance, you have nutrition to give still. Now you have wisdom, you have things to pour out over other women. It's time to rise up and mentor. It's time for you to share the wisdom. It's time for you to help fan the flames of these younger girls who might be doing things, and that you're like, let me help nourish those things in you. You still can nourish the babes.
Yes.
Metaphorically, you can nurse the babes. It's not too late.
Kim Allen said Sarah had no need of a nursemaid, and at age 2, when Isaac was weaned, she nursed other infants as a blessing. That explains what it says here in verse 7. Who would have said to Abraham, Sarah has nursed children, plural.
Yes, plural.
Okay. Right. For I have given birth to a son. She gave birth to a son, but she nursed children, plural. And Kim is saying it was a reresurrection blessing.
Do you
Can
guys
you
see it?
imagine? Can you
Do you guys
imagine
see it?
nursing those babies?
Can you see her like she's like, come on, she's
Come
like,
on,
she's like the
let's
milk
go.
truck. She's like a milk truck pulls up like the ice cream man, like the little thing came on, and here
Let's
comes
pass it
Sarah.
out.
And she's like, all right, come on, Sarah's gonna
Let's
be
get
giving.
the-
Yeah, she's like,
Let's get the little
nursing
music
everybody.
going. Bring them.
Yes.
Bring them.
I mean, this is what you guys get to be. I mean, look at, can you imagine the party? I mean, really, she had so much milk that she could just nurse everybody.
You guys are never going to look at an ice cream truck again the same way ever.
No.
You're ruined forever from now on.
You're too young to know milk trucks, but you know an ice cream truck. Yeah. You know, it's interesting that after this whole thing with Ishmael, that in Ishmael, it's interesting that provision is made later in Torah. We're going to see that provision is made so that this doesn't happen again. We see that God allows this, but we say that there is Torah. He makes a law that basically that you can't dismiss the son if they get their firstborn rights. Doesn't matter who they come from. And it's a way of being like, stop throwing the Egyptian girl in the mix.
Yeah.
And the reason is because now they won't do it because they know.
Right. That legally
they knew when they said this, everybody thought, oh, Ishmael. I mean, like, when this came up, they're like, Ishmael, like hashtag Ishmael, like
hashtag Ishmael. That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, he made provision for that. I love that. I
had another little thing when I was reading this, and it was that I was thinking of, I've read this story about Hagar, and I feel sad, and I'm thinking, first of all, I think it was, so I've always had the question, like, he would have been 13, so how did he carry this big old 13-year-old into, she would have not been very big, and she would have carried, I couldn't carry Shelby when she was 13 into the desert.
No.
I couldn't carry Eliza now in the desert for very long.
I know, right?
But I mean, a 13-year-old. So that's why I'm saying that is probably out of order. It's you'd have to just, I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of those mysteries. I love those mysteries.
It's a mystery. But anyways, he was so weak. Let's be literal for all of you who this is making you crazy. He was 13, you guys, and she was supernaturally so strong that she could carry him in the desert. And then she was so tired she couldn't do it anymore. So
he was 18.
Laid him down.
Okay, I just got corrected. I said 13 too. He was 18. Okay, got it.
I know that's questionable. There's a lot of Rabbi Foreman says 13. So
okay.
There's a lot of people who it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He was not a baby. He was
bigger than a baby.
If you read the story, he was too big to carry. That's all I'm going to say. So it doesn't matter how old he was.
All right.
So they threw him under a bush because she's like, I can't watch him die. So she puts him under a bush. Right. And instantly, I'm going to go back, and this is on my things I'm going to look up after. Same thing when I said, where is she? And I looked that up. I feel like there's a hyperlink to Moses in the ark, that Moshe going into the ark. I don't know why I feel like this.
Noah going into the ark, you mean?
You know how his mom puts him in the ark because she puts him away.
Oh, Moses. Yes. I'm sorry.
I don't know why. And I mean, you guys are gonna be like, where the heck are you even going with this? I shouldn't even say this out loud because this is the crazy talk Brenda and I do. But somehow I feel like there's some weird connection that in something about Moshe going into the ark, into the water, and the mom has to just like, I can't see, watch this happen, and like go take your brother and put him in the water.
Wow.
And the same with her putting him under a plant. And I think I heard Rabbi Foreman says that it's interesting because she said he was a bow's shot away, and he becomes an archer. I mean, that's, I don't know if it's prophetic, like that's
super prophetic,
a random thing. He becomes a archer, it says. And they also mentioned he was a bow shot away. So I don't know.
I
the
like
bush.
that analogy though, Charlie. I've never thought of that before. With when you said Moses in the ark, I'm thinking Noah in the ark. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Noah? No, but then you said Moses in the ark. Of course. With I've never connected those two. That's never been a hyperlink for me. So you
It
are
was today.
genius.
No, it was today. That was my hyperlink. I wrote it in my notes. Like Moshe's mom puts him in an ark. Hagar
Wow.
puts her son under a bush. And I don't know. I don't know if there's some, maybe it's just me and my crazy talk or my crazy
Mhm.
thoughts, but uh I feel like
And
there's something. I don't know.
Abraham
It's the
puts
same.
his son
Who? Marcia, what's the
Isaac.
same Hebrew word? The bush and the ark are the same word? Is it really? Because I haven't looked it up yet. Somebody look it up. All of you, we are commissioning all of you.
What is the same word? What is
She's
the word that's
yerk
being
and
said is the
basket.
same?
Yerk and basket. Are you saying that it says she put him in the bush is the same word as they use for the basket? I need someone to look this up right now. I
Okay.
have Blue Letter Bible up, but I want to keep talking to you guys.
Yeah,
Someone
keep
else who's not
talking.
talking, who's not teaching a class, could you look
Look it
that
up.
up?
Yeah.
I need to
Look it up.
know, are these the same words? Because I do not know, and I just have it in my notes that I need to go look that up because I feel like it's a thing.
Give us the Hebrew Strong's number, ark and basket of the two.
Oh, oh yes, right. I want to know is the bush that Hagar puts her son under the bush where it says her under when she hides him under the other thing is this, she puts him under a tree. You know, it's a tree. It's a
Mhm.
eretz. I feel like the word is probably like
Etz.
etz,
Mhm.
some type of an
Mhm.
etz. I feel like it's
Mhm.
some type of an etz.
Mhm.
It's most likely if we go look it up in Hebrew. So we'll,
Yeah.
I feel
Because
like it's
etz
the
is
etz
stick or bush
or
or
bush or
anything that
tree.
has wood is etz.
A form
Anything.
that in Hebrew, it's all a tree. A
Yeah.
tree is a
It's
tree. No matter
yeah.
how you cut it, it's a
Yeah.
tree.
If it has wood, it's a
So
tree. It's or a
exactly. Well,
stick,
go
it's a
get the
tree.
wood. Go get
Hmm.
the wood. It's an etz. Go get the
Right.
etz. It's all the
Right.
same. When we see Isaac when he'll go get the wood, it's an
Hmm.
etz. Okay.
Hmm. So both
So,
of them are made
anyways,
from the same, made from
so I
wood.
think that we should go that direction more. Is that there's an etz. She's putting him under the tree, you know,
Hmm.
and then it says her eyes are opened. And I mean, what do we have that we're like, I can't handle this anymore? And
Oh,
I put it under
Father.
the, I'm going to put it under the tree. I'm going to put it,
Yeah.
not your Christmas tree. You're going to put it under the tree, the tree,
Yeah.
the tree.
The tree.
You're going to put it under
That's
the
so
tree.
good.
We
Yeah.
see that the promise was given to, we see that the promise was given to Abraham and Sarah when they were under the trees. They were in the trees, right? Yes,
Hmm.
Natalie, the tree of life. And that's where we're given counsel. That's where we're given, you know, it's the same number 3. I think the number for is it's on the 3rd day for trees. I'm going to go creation gospel on you guys, but there's it's something, there's just something hanging around there. We can see this. And then he says he opens her eyes and we go back. Now we start with about eyes opening and looking up. We're coming towards an end. We're going to talk about opening eyes. There's probably a chiasm somewhere in the middle. I do not know this, but hey, we're talking about a lot of eyes opening in here. Look for repetition. Look for things, guys. I want to hear the stuff you find because you're like, oh, I did it. I look for some stuff. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Right? And we see Ishmael going back to Egypt, taking another Egyptian wife because you know
Hmm.
that isn't, we didn't have enough fun in Egypt. Let's keep doing it.
Oh,
We
gee.
got some wells. I talked to you guys about the wells. And then, you know, he plants a tree. Oh, wait, here's another tree. How many times do you see trees in this, guys? Let's look for, I bet you there's
Uh,
a chiasm amongst
yeah.
all the trees in there
Trees are
too.
hospitality too, by the way. When you plant a
Yes.
tree, what you're doing, and they're slow growing, very, very slow growing trees. When you plant a tree, what you're doing is hospitable because you're making a place for the birds to nest, for shade to come for visitors who are coming by, for travelers. You know, it's the whole ecosystem. It is an act of hospitality to plant a tree, which is when you go to Israel, you always want to plant a tree. Okay. So can I just say, I've got a couple trees over there and they're called Brenda trees.
She planted a tree at a Pakistani.
Yeah. Yep. So,
We won't say who.
yeah.
So you can't
Yep.
find her.
I planted some trees, and that's what it's really beautiful because it's such a blessing to be able to beautify any area. I have never understood that coming from my culture, you know, I kill trees. So, I mean, I don't even have plant. I can't even keep a house plant alive. I'm sorry.
Mm.
I had to go repent to my house plant. I had to go repent to my porch plants today because I went outside and I realized I hadn't watered them in a few days and they were just like crying. They were so dry and I watered them and I repented to them. I said, Father, you've given these to me to beautify my home and I have not taken good care of them. And I literally repented. I was so sad. And I went and I talked to them and I touched them all and I told them how sorry I was. I don't know. They could hear me. I'm sure they could hear me because they're
I love it.
alive.
I love
And,
it.
and I mistreated them. So I had to repent.
This is a huge thing. This next one, which I feel like we'll probably do like we did today. We might come back and hit this next week, but we're going
Okay.
to talk about the binding of Isaac. This is big. This is prophetic.
Huge.
It's huge. What do I have learned that new this year? What have you? I think this year I've learned new is I'd never thought of, or what would I say? I've never thought of before. I have questions about. One is that I can imagine. I was just imagining this. I mean, I'm like looking at it like a movie. Like, what would this be like? What if I was? What if this was happening? And that he trusts. No matter what, he trusted so much. He thought God will bring him back to life, even if he does take him. It was not uncommon. It was common.
Yeah, it was common
For our other gods, little g, to
mm-hmm.
require giving up your firstborn, giving up your child to them. It was very common. So that's something we don't understand because that is not anywhere even near our culture or has been in many, many years.
Right.
But for Abraham to hear that, he would have been like, okay, well,
I guess that's what I have to do. I thought it was going to be different.
I thought it was going to be different, but I'm used
different.
to that's what the Egyptian gods require. And that's what some other gods require. So, okay, well, we're going to do this. And I'm just going to trust this was a promise you gave, whatever. We know there's a conversation. I'm thinking he doesn't, what are they talking about, Brenda? What are they talking about as they're walking? Like, hey, how's the weather? Like, they're not saying, okay, so we're going to get up there and then I'm going to kill you. And I'm just praying God brings you. I mean, he's not going to tell him that. He's old enough that he would run away.
Yeah. And Ishmael, Isaac is getting Yitzhak is getting an idea of like, hey, Dad, I see the fire. I'm carrying the fire. And I'm carrying the wood. But where's the lamb? Yeah. Where's the lamb? Yeah. I looked that up today and I could just be totally off on this, but I looked that up today and the word for lamb, it's that, I don't even remember where I put it in here, but anyway, and it's talking about, I'm not going to go there because I don't remember where I put it. Never mind. But anyway, it was very interesting. I did a deep dive on, the word for lamb and kind of like the root of it and what type of story it tells. And then also on ram and what the root of the word for ram is and the story that it tells. And the ram is like a portico that comes out around a door. The root word for ram, not the word ram, but the root word of that noun. And it's like it covers the top and the sides and the bottom of a door, which just blew me away.
Because it's like the lamb and the ram.
That's the ram, Passover. Right? Yeah. And the lamb was different. But anyway.
So, but anyway, I mean, I love that because that's one of my questions. I'm like, what am I questioning about this? I'm questioning ram versus lamb because we talk about the lamb. Where's the lamb? And then we have a ram caught in the thicket. What's really interesting, if you see the word for the wood is again, the etz, he's carrying the tree. So we see the promised son carrying the tree. Maybe you're having
and the fire
and maybe you're having like a little bit of a hyperlink to someone else who carried a tree. I don't know.
And the fire of God and the fire of his presence.
Then also, Brenda, you and I have talked that they're at the top of a mountain and he looks up. It says, and he looked up. Where did he look up to? He lifted up his eyes. Then Abraham lifted up his eyes and behold, there was a ram caught in the etz. There was a lamb caught in the etz by the horn. So for you guys, this is what we've talked. Brenda and I have these secret conversations and this is what we talked about. If he looked up, there's nowhere to look except for up. Like, and if you see the ram or you see the lamb slain before the foundations of the earth caught in a thicket. Oh, wait, maybe like Yeshua had like thorns on his head and he's caught on a tree. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's a very beautiful prophetic. I think this is a very prophetic picture of Yeshua because he was slain before the foundations of the earth. I believe, because later Yeshua says that Abraham saw me.
Exactly. He sure did.
Abraham says,
Yes.
I mean, Jesus says,
Yeah.
Abraham saw me.
Yeah.
So I believe, and I'm the boss
Yep.
of me.
That's
I believe
right.
he saw Yeshua
Yeah.
on the, I think he saw Yeshua on the
Yeah.
tree. I believe it.
And Kim brings up a really good point, and just like what you're saying, Charlie, is that Isaac offered himself because Isaac was big enough to overpower his dad or to get
Yes.
away. He was big enough. He wasn't.
Yes.
He was big enough, okay, to fight
Yes.
this thing, and he didn't. He offered himself a willing sacrifice, very messianic, very prophetic. And the other thing is that Abraham looking up, whenever we see that when they're looking up, it's a prophetic looking. It's a prophetic, yes. It's seeing beyond the realm that you're in and seeing into the next realm, just like in the desert with Moses when he lifted the serpent up on the pole and he said, look up. That whole thing was to look into the prophetic realm, to see what was beyond what was happening in the circumstances of life.
We see it earlier. He looks up. Yeah. Oh, look, you see.
Guess what?
Heavenly beings walking around and let me go run, make you something to eat. Yeah. Then he looks, or earlier he looked up, he waited, and Lot was looking all over the place. Hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you see he looks, when he finally looks up at God, he's like, you can have whatever you want. Like, this is all yours. Yeah. We see him looking up every time, like you said, Abraham looks up. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Abraham is the jam. Like, he is human. He is.
Yep.
We see him learning from his mistakes. We see him as an advocate. We see him advocating for people. We see him interceding. We see him saying, we see him putting God first. I wasn't here last week to be able to tell you. I mean, it's speculated that he actually even knew Sarah was barren already because she would have been older, that she was barren. So he chose her. Wasn't that she was easy on the eyes, but that she was also, he already knew she was barren. Somehow, I don't know how I know like Rabbi Foreman believes that, there's people believe that. It's been said by the people. And so for him to give his brother the wife that wasn't barren was actually another way to show his heart, that he was willing to give up his inheritance. He was willing to give up his lineage. And that was the reason why he was blessed to be the father of many nations, was because he was willing to give that up to his brother and walk away from everything. That was just we see him walking out this priestly, beautiful thing that we get to, he's walking out in front of us to show us how to do it and be human, and not being defined by our mistakes.
Right. That's why we call him our father, Charlie. We call Abraham our father. He is.
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting, Kim. She said many believe that she had no womb until the angels came to visit.
Well, that would make sense.
I would laugh too.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. That is really,
there's things we don't know because we don't know. And a lot of us have grown up. I grew up where it was like, if it wasn't in here, it didn't happen. Well, let me just say some stuff happened that's not in here. So you may hate us. Yeah. No period. That's what I thought too, Kim. From my understanding, she didn't have a period. Babies. That's how they knew that she was barren. So like, oh, you could have the barren one. She's cute, but she hasn't had a period yet. So we're pretty sure she's barren.
Yeah.
That was, I have a tendency to believe that 100%, that he knew it. That makes even more sense, that he told his brother, you can have this one, I'll take this one. And then for him to then everything else just seems to be an exclamation point behind everything else that we hear.
Yeah. Is there anything too difficult for him? Yeah. Is there anything too difficult for him?
Where there's no womb?
Absolutely he can.
Right?
Absolutely he can.
I love that. Like, you can be saying, I can't run that. I can't do that. I don't have a degree. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. I don't know how. I can't. Yeah. You're no different than Sarah, and you're not bad. We're not, no shame. No shame here. No shaming.
But we're going to remind you. Remember Sarah?
No womb shaming. There's no shaming in this womb.
Yeah. Remember Sarah.
We're no shaming. But I think that we see her hiding back. He sees you. Just like he saw Hagar, he saw her. He knew, and he says, why aren't you where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to be doing? He saw her. He called her out. And I'm just going to jump just before we go, because we promised to do this every week. In Luke 17, 28 through 37 is our Brit Hadashah port to this portion. And we are just continuing on from where we see the Parsha Noach. We started this little section and it continues on actually for this Parsha. It jumps back to there.
Say it again, please. Say that address again.
Luke
I'll
17, 28 through 37.
Okay.
And it says it was just like the same in those, it was just like the same in the days of Lot. They were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building.
Life was going on.
The day that Lot left Sodom, remember it said the day he put his foot in that new little town, it happened. But on the day that Lot left Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed them all. This will be the same on the day when the Son of Man is made fully known. In that day, the one who is on the roof and his possessions in the house must not go down and to take them away. In the same way, the one who is in the field must not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever tries to keep his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will preserve it.
Oh, man.
I just want to say I am a firm believer. I do believe that we are living in the last days. Do I mean tomorrow? No. But I do believe that there's a reason that we're seeing people are eating, they're drinking, they're buying, they're selling, they're planting, they're building, they're doing all the things.
Yeah.
And their heart is going into all these things that they're building, the horses and chariots. They're all, building all these great things. And he's saying that, that be careful that you're not willing to lose your life. Who loses their life? The one who's hospitable and says, I'm willing to bring people in and I'll lose my life for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is heavy.
Yeah. So good night. Have a nice night and
enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a great evening. Shalom.
Hope there's some strangers knocking on your door tonight so you can let them in.
Yeah. Go run around. Be hospitable. We are gonna hang out a little while. It's late for a lot of you on the East Coast.
Yes.
It's
thank you for hanging in there with us
in Central Time, but thanks all of you for hanging out. It's hard to pick times because it's too early one coast, it's too late for one coast.
I know.
We love you. We're doing our best.
Love you.
So we just say, if you're on Facebook, it's not too late to join us. We will stop recording. I just want you to know we love you. Still, if you are not in the Rooted Cafe, if you love the way this kind of teaching, we have such great teachers in there.
Yes, we do. Amazing teachers.
Doing calls. Go in and do the 7-day free trial. We set up a little sample for you so you don't get overwhelmed. And then at the end of the 7 days, you can jump in with jump in the deep end with all of us.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say, we want to love on you. I think we're the community you've been praying for. I really do. I mean, I wrote that like on our website because I believe it. So if you've been praying, like, I need to be accountable. I need some women who hold my feet to the fire. I need to go to another level, but I'm too scared and I have questions to ask that I need a safe place. Can I just say, we want you.
Yes.
We really are a safe place. And so come and hang out. Come try us out. I'd love
it. We
need
you. It's not
too late. Come hang out with us right now on the after party so we can, I'm going to cut off this. Shalom, all of you. May you all be blessed.
Shalom.
But great. Remember, no portion tomorrow.
No portion tomorrow. So it's nice. Love you guys all. Everybody wave. Everybody wave.
Yay. May you all be ice cream trucks to your community.
Love you.